been a minute, huh? Yeah, it's been busy time. Did you interest me in designing a class around cooking and food? I'm not particularly like in Vagabond at the moment. Not really the kind of thing that I'm super trying to do. I know a lot of people are like super fans of dungeon meshing and everything right now, but it's just not really the kind of thing I'm trying to do with the game at the moment. Well, it has been a minute. Yeah, I've been super busy. Yo, what up? I did get cool news today though, and things are underway with this, so I get to finally fucking say we're coming to Alchemy VTT, bitches. I have my meetings. It will be a part of Vagabond and the launch and everything like that. I think the estimated time for the VTT integration is going to most likely be sometime next summer. But we're all, we got everything underway. So for the people that are asking, are we doing VTTs, all that stuff? Yes, we're working on that. As of right now, the current state of the game is playable, but there are certain things that we are trying to do to clean some stuff up. And say, oh, hey, how's it going? There are certain things that we're trying to do to clean some stuff up right now. Some of these things are like making sure that rulings aren't super confusing. We're trying to figure out maybe things need to be in a different spot somewhere in the game. The one that is most likely going to get some people a little bit let down with this patch in particular is going to be the fact that we need to pull the Cypher at the moment. The Cypher class, here, and I'll get the patch. Copy. There we go. All right, YouTube. You all should be able to see the patch notes here. And I'm gonna pen that. Uh-oh. You all should be... Uh-oh. No. Close. There we go. So that's the patch notes. There are pretty significant changes that are going to be happening insofar as kind of the class loadouts, with the most interesting thing to me being the fact that we're going to be working on the merchant today. Some of the other aspects of it are just general cleanups, what rules maybe need to go somewhere else that haven't been considered. I'm also very happy that we are at a point where we get to just work on polishing things. The system in and of itself is feeling extremely good. And we're mostly getting into the fine details of, like, there's playtests that happens whenever people first get their hands on the system, and that's very cool. That's where I focus on a lot of the accessibility side of things, more so than more so than I do whenever there's a couple people who like have played TTRPGs before. One of the things that I've tried to emphasize a bit more with people whenever they're like, why did this thing change? Whatever. So playtests have been happening on and off, like offline. So with my IRL groups, the things that I'm trying to emphasize there are people who are not heavy crunch TTRPG people. People who maybe even aren't heavy board game people, right? So a lot of with Vagabond has been trying to get this in the hands of people who maybe don't feel like it's super fun to crunch out a super crazy character concept. And then yes, definitely taking the feedback of people who are super into character building and all that stuff, right? Is Fighter still one column? It is. Yes, it still is. There's something that I think I might be tweaking a little bit with the fighter. I haven't heard a lot of people really giving me feedback on it, which has me a little bit like, I know that there's a lot of people who are more into crunchy games who look at the fighter and they're going to go, oh, okay, well, I'll go over to one of the other, like, 18 classes in the game and look at something that I think is a bit more like, ooh, but I still need to look at the fighter and make sure it's like, is this gonna really help? Is this the kind of thing that people are gonna really, really want? So this has been a class. Here, we'll get over into this. Cool, let's do that. There's a couple new perks and things that are getting into the game. Why is this? Here we go. Let's go over to the fighter real quick. Here we go. Okay. The fighter. Here's kind of my current position with the fighter and what all's happening. So a couple changes have happened to dodge and parry. So dodge and parry are incredibly, incredibly good, and that's the point. If you're being attacked, we want it to feel like a bit more active about how you can defend yourself. I've always really loved that about games like Dragonbane's, Vihander, and I wanted to give you more options that weren't just heavier armor, like a bigger armor score or something like that. I hate armor class. Anytime that I've done armor class with a system, I get why it's done, but at the same time, it doesn't feel like a great narrative for what it means for armor, right? So for armor class and what we've done with all that stuff in Vagabond, the conversion is going to be mitigation. And insofar as what it means for you to evade things, you're going to have to be actively trying to do that, right? So in an effort to figure out what's going to make all of that more interesting, I'm kind of looking at classes like the fighter. So with the fighter, there's one thing right up front that I'm looking at, and I'm like, Weapon Master. This is a flat, generic bonus, and that's it. It is a flat, +1 bonus to attacks, damage, and parry checks with those weapons. This is something that you're having to wait to scale for you, which I don't think very many people are super fans of. So instead, I like thinking about doing this instead. More conventionally, what happens with Vagabond. Here we go. +1 and a +2. So what's happening right here is something I have been a little bit worried about. I don't generally like giving you very, very good bonuses that are flat like this because of the way the dice math in Vagabond checks out. So what this means is that fighters are going to hit more accurately than anybody else in the game, and nobody's really caught on to this because not a lot of people have been super eager to pick this one up. This is mathematically, and I've known this for a while, mathematically, this should not be checking out in the game. It shouldn't. +1 bonus to attacks, damage, and parry checks with those weapons. What happens whenever you get a hold of a +3? It's a +5 bonus to these things. So this is not going to stay in here. It's just not. So what I'm looking at doing is, in terms of the fighter, there was one portion of this that I got rid of originally because it felt more cool on a barbarian. And that was the fighting spirit thing. So fighting spirit was, if you have favor on an attack, you can forego that favor to make an additional attack, right? To make one extra attack on the turn. This was something that, like, Samurai from 5e felt super fucking cool for. I really dug narratively what that meant for it. Trying to make it a core class feature over here for the fighter, it was originally kind of fun, but it feels so much more narratively evocative over on the barbarian. So instead, what I'm looking at here is like, what are the limitations in Vagabond around attack? What are the things that we say are like, this would be cool to know at first level, I pop into it and say, this is what I get out of attacking. Now, one of the things I'm going to straight up tell everybody right now, because I know I'm going to get the suggestion here, there will not be maneuvers like what you see for like Battle Master baked into this fighter. That's what Martialist is trying to evoke. So you get more access to other maneuvers through virtue of getting this feature right here. But there is one thing about this that I do think I want to change, and that is this. This is a freebie perk every 4 levels as a fighter. This is modeling what it means to do the like maneuver style martial art technique kind of stuff. And what's interesting is it makes it to where this is actually mirroring some of the stuff with like what experts are getting, right? So I like this idea a lot of this being where they get the modularity. It kicks on at 2nd level. Okay, sick. They get that. They're already getting another perk. This means that fighter, 1st level, could potentially pick up a warrior perk. 2nd level, could potentially pick up 2 warrior perks. 4th level, they're going to get their warrior perk. 6th level, potentially 2 warrior perks. Or it also just opens it up for them a bit more and allows them to go the jack of all trades kind of feel, right? So I like this idea. Now, Weapon Master. This is a thing that is already super weird and specific right here. Choose a weapon type. Okay, this is extremely loosely defined in Vagabond. This is a thing that I am most likely gonna nix entirely. Mathematically, this is just blah, boring. As cool as this is, as strong as this is, and in terms of cool, I mean, as how much power it's going to get you. It's just not fantastic. Also, I want to get away from anything that like D&D may be using as a name, really. Some aspects of it you can't really help. Now, I don't know that parry needs to always be the thing that we do in this. The fun things are, does Vagabond have big ancestries or beast folk? Unclear last time I checked. You mean like lineages and stuff? Wait, sorry. You mean like large? Is that what you mean? Like large size? Because right now, no. That's the thing I'll be doing in an expansion later on. It's okay for fighter to be simple and even pouring as long as there's only one column because it's a fighter, simple and effective. So I'm fine with it being simple. I would love to figure that out. But the thing is, I want to make sure that things like sing for it, right? Yeah, there's still beast folk in the game. Yeah. I want to make sure that what's here is cool enough to justify it staying here. You thought martialists said materials and you got very confused. So... oh, man. So... Combat core is essentially, we know attack action. That's what they really like. Fighter is going to be the attack action specialist. Okay, so we say that. We know that this action for them is super cool. This is like, yes, you go in and you hit stuff. We want to tell you, the more and more you hit stuff, like this should be, yes, I feel confident doing that, right? So, with a fighter, what are the things that make them interesting? I think separate from, like, what's distinguishing them from Barbarian, what's distinguishing them from everything else. I think too often what happens is I see a lot of discussion happen around Fighter as everybody is thinking, why isn't everything else just a fighter? Whereas they're not thinking, why isn't a fighter this other thing? So, like, what is the thing that would make this so distinct and cool? So, some of the limitations. You could embrace the athletics side of it. I think that might be worth it to consider. Maybe embrace athleticism. Weapons, right? Okay, so we have weapons, attack action. Because we need something specifically to hit for the core. And generic stat improvements just aren't really it. The roll for you to crit on attack and parry checks is reduced by 1, and is reduced by 1 further when you reach 8th level in this class. So, critting on parry checks is giving you an extra attack. Oh yeah, by the way, critting on dodge checks no longer gives you an extra attack. Or an extra action. And critting on parry checks no longer gives you an extra action. You can take an attack. One attack. That's the big nerf that came from this last week. Here, actually, let me get up there into that and show you like what the big, huge, massive change on that is. It's not combat. No, this was in checks. Right? Yes. Okay. This is the most sweeping change to the way that the game functions right now. When I have scaling for poise after 10th level, to where it reduces the crit range every single time, we have to be extremely careful with reducing, like, we have to be extremely careful with allowing any resolution mechanic reduction to scale. If we allow that kind of stuff to infinitely scale, it starts to seriously break the math of the game. We're all, like, also, we had this issue kind of going on where Fighter was getting a lot, like, okay, so, like, Gunslinger and Hunter right now operate on bringing the crit reduction down, right? So they lower the ceiling, whereas Fighter was increasing the foundation. The problem here is that this ceiling, whenever this is brought down, these guys can still whiff. These guys can still fail. If you increase the foundation, you start to remove failure, right? So Fighter getting that was just not really the direction we wanted to go. If we start doing too much of that, where we're just continuously lowering the ceiling, we kind of get to a point where we know it's not really great for the game if that ceiling is consistently lowered to a point of about 15 or higher. Sorry, 15. If you hit 15 on that crit reduction, we start to see a significant change in the overall DPR of characters. It kind of goes like, oh, okay, well, like 19 to 20, that's a nice spike. We get that 15% with the 18 to 20, that's also a nice spike. 17 to 20, Ooh, it's looking pretty scary. 16 to 20 is about the point where it hits the peak. And then at 15 to 20, there's so many other factors that come in with like Faber, all this other shit that it just starts to destroy things. You're hitting that incredibly reliably at that point, and it just sort of like cheapens everything. You hope the live will stay on YouTube as well. Oh, well, you have to go. I'll see you later, Sean's. Yeah, 30% chance the critter lower is so easy to game. Yeah. It's a thing having a lot. If the caster can get extra mana beyond 10th level, why not fighter be a master of parrying stuff? Sure, crit reduction can be nutty, but that isn't just a high level of play, just being a high level mortal. I disagree with that being the idea of what needs to scale there. And if it's going to be a continuous sticking point where people are like, I don't like the fact that mana continues to scale after 10th level, then mana's not going to scale after 10th level. Don't focus on the things that happen after 10th level. Don't. Most people, 99% of people, are not playing up there. I'm just saying, like, you could theoretically with the way that this has been working. So for some features, like, if we're doing a comparison of like, well, warriors need something to scale, not necessarily. Mana continuing to grow is kind of like, you know, sure, everyone's still getting perks. There's still other things that they could get. Mana is not really the end all be all of like what is necessarily like representative of a higher level character. Why not make fighters ambidextrous at first level, giving them a special bonus to 2 weapons with 1 or 2 hands? Using 2 weapons with 1 or 2 hands? I'm not sure what that's trying to evoke. So, oh, okay, here we go. We were on the crit effects. So this is the big change. All right, so whenever you crit on a check, you gain 1 luck. For certain types of checks, other rules apply. On an attack or cast, you can forgo the luck to deal damage to the targets equal to the cast stat used for the attack or cast. Okay. So what this means right here is you can now, if that thing that you cast dealt damage, even if you did not cast it to deal damage and the target was affected by it, you can now deal damage to them by foregoing the luck on here, right? This is a choice that you can make afterwards. Just bam, I want to throw that up on top. Yes, there we go. It also means that you don't have to do that. If you would rather take the luck and build it up, you can get that now, right? Attacking, you can either gain the luck or add the damage to the attack. It's an either or situation. Dodge, you ignore all the damage dice and can forgo luck to move up to half your speed without provoking intercepts. So, you ignore all the damage die that's already there. And you can forgo the luck to move up to half your speed without provoking intercepts. So, all this combined in here, you're already getting the effect of, oh yeah, dodge is also nerfed, by the way. It's no longer that you're foregoing all the damage whenever you succeed on a dodge. It's the same way that old parry did. You remove 1 of the damage dice, right? So here you're ignoring all the damage dice, and you can forgo getting the luck to move up to half your speed without provoking intercepts. There we go. This is still using your speed, by the way. Parry, you ignore all the damage dice and can forgo the luck to make 1 attack. No longer is this you take an extra action. You would also say Mighty Deeds for fighter, but that would raise the argument that all martials should be allowed to use Mighty Deed like PCC. I'm not incredibly familiar. I have a passing knowledge of Dungeon Crawl Classics. I opened up the book and I was like, I just felt kind of lost going through it. I feel like I read a ton of TTRPGs, and with Dungeon Crawl Classics, I just sort of like looked at it and like, yeah. Maybe embrace the tactical warrior narrative, allowing them to inflict conditions similar to how the pugilist can grapple when hitting twice on a round. I mean, I don't know exactly what that would go into, but I don't know that everybody that's thinking a fighter is thinking tactician, you know? You don't like rolling D16, yeah, right? So this right here is providing essentially the same mechanics as last time, but it's making it way more clear. When you crit on a check, you gain 1 luck. This applies to saves now. This applies to, oh yeah, this was the weird thing. It was always really odd to me that whenever you crit on a save beforehand, like a will save, that you immediately could take an action. Now it's just you gain the luck. That's it. Bingo bango, right? What is the goal for the stream? Oh, we're going through some stuff, and I'm working on the merchant a little bit. Barbarian equals bonk hard, fighter equals tactician. Simple as that. Well, but we got to figure out what that means, right? It's not just a like, aha, there's your answer. It's like, what does that mean, though? You know, if you want to play the brute fighter, then barbarians exist. Yeah, sure, but like, we still have to figure out what it means. You know, how does dancer deal damage now? So they're giving their action away to other people, and in a way, if they're doing this with the dodge, there's something else that they're getting in here. Let's go up here. By the way, not every class is going to be a damage specialist here, nor do I feel personally that they need to all be able to deal damage in order to be viable in combat. That's just a thing I've always disagreed with. Now, so it's the combination of what happens with fleet of foot and step up, right? Should the fighter exist? Yeah, I think so. Fleet of foot. The roll for you to crit on dodge saves is reduced by an amount equal to your dancer level divided by 4, round up. And when you crit on a dodge save, you can make 1 attack. So what I think I'm going to do is this instead. There we go. So when you crit on a dodge save, you can take an action. There you go. To anybody that's like, this is what my idea of a dancer should be. I've got these spells over here. I want to do that instead. So this is incentivizing you to go over here, use step up. You can use your action to perform an enlivening dance, granting yourself favor on dodge saves until the start of your next turn, and giving one ally of your choice that sees you an additional action this turn. You can use this feature once per turn. Boom. So you could potentially give someone this action right here. I'm a little bit worried about how that would play out, but I want to keep it open for the people who really like playing dancer because they get decision paralysis when it comes to combat. There are a lot of people, like the one that I'm dating right now. Amanda really loves playing TTRPGs. She hates having to make decisions in the middle of combat. What she likes is feeling useful and doing something like this right here. Everybody else loves playing with Amanda because she likes to play dancer and give everybody else her action. She doesn't like the stress of having to think about what is going on in a fight. So there's plenty of people that we play with that do really, really love having or getting to make decisions and stuff like that. Amanda does not. So she passes this over to all of them. Let fighter use an offhand weapon or shield for attack or parry. Wait, what? They already... Wait, what? Have you read the game? They can. Ooh, you know so many players are the same way? Yep. There's quite a few people that just, I don't think, totally understood what I was going for with the dancer. Right? No, it hasn't been updated yet. No. And favor does stack in the system. Yes. This update has not gone out yet because I'm hoping to take out a major chunk in this one. And give you guys something really cool to chew on here. So what a lot of people don't really get, so Amanda is empty brain dancer. I mean, sure, yeah. She likes playing it, yeah. She likes passing off those actions and stuff, you know. With this update, what I'm looking at doing is getting out the merchant. I would love to get something out there to get people playing, right? I'd also like to make sure that what's incorporated here are the changes for what's happened to dodge and parry. This, honestly, these two mechanics right here, dodge and parry, have been causing more. Um, there we go. That's what we've had to playtest with more than anything else in the game. You don't get stressed out with making decisions, but you are a big fan of creatively describing how you can set your friends up to do cool things in the social group game for a reason. Yep. Yep. So there's a lot of people who won't really get a huge appeal from the dancer's playset. And to those people, I'm kind of like, I would just recommend you play a different class. And there's 18 of them in here, so, you know. There's plenty of people who I've also seen the feedback of, like, I just don't like bards, so why is it in here? And I'm like, I don't know, go play something else then. Like, this is going to be actually a big thing. I've seen a weird kind of mindset that I think got pushed around a bit on, I don't know, within like the TTRPG space, where people have the idea that all games should be for everyone. Well, okay, yes, whenever we're talking about like inclusivity, yeah, if they want to take part in it, yeah, your game should be like welcoming to them and all that stuff, right? We're talking about like, we want to keep the game open to where people that want to play it can play it, and we make it easy for them to play it and all that stuff, right? However, there is a piece of text in this motherfucking game I really fucking love. This is Eat the Reich, by the way, by Rowan Rook and Deckard. Honestly, this is the game right here that I'm going to tell people, hey, you want a good set and seeing what people could do with like safety tools? Here you go. Where was this? Yes, alright. This is in their safety tools section right here. This is a header, and I'm so glad to see a game fucking have the balls to do this right now. This is a header that says, set expectations. This is a very violent game in which the players rip Nazis to shreds and drink their blood for occult power. It's not a horror game for you, because the player characters are so individually powerful, but it's definitely a horror game from the Nazis' perspective. If players aren't up for a big, gross, stupid evisceration party, they should play a different game. Motherfucker. A game that knows what it's about and isn't cowtailing, where if someone's like, I'm sorry, I'm not really into blood. Okay, you're playing a vampire in this game. So, like, the very specifics of it, if that's a thing, it's not a matter of the game saying, well, let's figure out the cushion, let's figure out how we mold, let's figure out how we, like, pull these punches or whatever. No, it's just saying it's okay for you to go play a different game. Like, we're not trying to be the game that covers all the territory. You know, what is the Vagabond version of that? I'm glad you asked. Because there is something that I worked on for the last week that I would love to talk to you all about. Aha! This is coming in the next update. Alright. This is me planting my fucking flag in the sand right here. I hate the term safety tool. I hate the term. Safety implies a level of like physical danger or something that it has caused people to get turned off of TTRPGs. I see a lot of what I feel is overstatement of harm in regards to the term safety tool. And this is not a like, oh, Taron got red-pilled thing or anything like that. I've seen people that have come up with safety tools that have been critical about the fact that people call them safety tools. That they don't like the name. They feel like it is a vast overstatement of the quote-unquote danger or whatever than what's in here, right? Instead, what I'm propositioning with Vagabond is discretion tools, okay? Now, whether or not this catches on, whatever, I don't know. But to me, this is me planting my fucking flag in the sand right here. I'm tired of calling them safety tools. I'm not going to call them safety tools anymore. I think there's plenty of times where also us lefties have got to look out for what we say is like, this is harmful. We've got to start thinking about how that looks from the outside looking in, right? If we say discretion tools, okay, no longer is someone looking at it and thinking, wait, What do you mean? Am I signing up to like narrate? Wait, what's in this game? No, 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 no. So, discretion tools. Discretion is more about setting the tone for the kind of story that you all want to tell, right? Yeah, half the safety tools like the X card don't really work as desired. Anywho, yeah, there's a reason I didn't include the X card in here. I'm still shaping this up, but to give you all kind of a quick summary. First off, big credit, by the way. Thank you so much to Eat the Reich for your safety tools section. And yeah, tools to have fun. Thank you so much to Eat the Reich for your safety tools section. The Monty Cook Games consent and gaming checklist for essentially giving me the idea for what topics need to go in here and what needs to get covered. But I still think their consent and gaming checklist could use with a bit more refining. I think Monty Cook Games would even say that. I think they have actually, Ked. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. Their consent and gaming checklist was not presented in the best way to really achieve what it was trying to do. And I think it got pushed by some people as a you dislike the checklist idea, yeah. It got pushed by some people as if it was like, here's a bunch of soft boy lefties that are getting into the space and are like, you have to play the game our way. And I'm like, no, but like, we let them control the messaging on that, and that's not great, right? The red pill in the Matrix is a metaphor for estrogen as the pills were red. That's hilarious if that's true. Okay, so talking about a couple things in here. One of the things I'm going to put in front, and I'm going to recommend more people do this, is exactly what the fuck they put in Eat the Reich. Right? Hey, what up, Tin Can? So I'll just start out from the top because this is going to be a section that I think may get people in on thinking like, wait, what are you doing with this? What, like, in a questioning way. All right. So I feel very happy with the way that this is currently getting across what the fuck this game is about. Okay. So playing a role-playing game can lead to situations that may make certain players feel uncomfortable with the experience. Everyone at the table should remain sympathetic to the comfort of others, and it's worth taking the time to make sure everyone's on the same page about how you all might explore these themes if they come up. Core expectations. This is the thing that I am saying we don't make a conceit on. This is a game of power fantasy violence, delving into dangerous locations, and brutally killing terrifying monsters. These are core tenets of the game. If players aren't up for this experience, they should play a different game. I'm gonna Eat the Reich. Hey, thank you guys so much, Grant Howitt and Kirkby. Will Kirkby. There we go. Right? Am I getting that right? Did I mix their names up? Grant Howitt, Will. Right? Yes. Thank you, Will Kirkby. Oh my God! Thank you for that fucking sentence right there. If players aren't up for this experience, they should play a different game. If someone's upset that like they were thinking that they wanted to get a farming simulator or something and they bought a pulp action game, that's not what we're about. Okay, so like that's on them. We put the discretion right up front. This is what it's about. What this game isn't is an excuse to subject others to an experience they aren't in for, nor is it a justification for mirroring real-world bigotry. Players are expected to take on the role of heroes. We consider violence against evildoers as meaningfully different from violence to rid the world of all orcs. Killing something just because it was born as what it is, potentially leans into mirrors of real-world bigotry and justifications for genocide. I am just legitimately paraphrasing basically exactly what they put in Eat the Reich. I'll read you off what they put in there. If I want Dungeon Meshi, get out. It's not that exactly. Where was this? Set expectations. Yeah, it was. Well, I know it's in here somewhere. Oh, come on. Okay, I won't linger on that too long, but I will say it is something that came from here in Eat the Reich. Yeah, so the game is essentially telling you right here. There is a difference between we go into a dungeon, there's a bunch of goblins that stole some stuff. We're taking out this group of goblins. Not all goblins are bad, right? That's not what this game is about. If people want to lean in on that, then like that's on them. That's not what the game is trying to say. And we also can't fucking do anything about that. They're gonna be them, whatever, right? Oh hey, yeah, you too, Noise. What up, Gollypot? So this is just a heads up. Hey, this is what it could lean into. This is what it could mirror. We can't tell you not to do this, but it's not what we're encouraging you to do. All right, be fans of each other. One player's success is everyone's success, GM included. This is not a competitive game. There are no winners or losers. This is a toolkit to help embody a heroic pulp fantasy character going against the dangers presented by bizarre magic, unfamiliar monsters, and ancient layers. Help each other understand, or help each other succeed. Try to find moments to give others a spotlight, and work as a team to defeat the evils that plague the realms of your imagination. Right? Boy, that show gets real. Which one? That it's not. Oh, that it isn't violent, or oh no, there's yeah. Historical inaccuracy by intent has been in here for a while, so like you all have probably read that. If not, it's essentially me saying that like this game pulls inspiration from these eras right here, but that doesn't mean that we pull from like the social some of the social policies and such of that day, right? There's absolutely zero reason to treat women as like lesser just because you're like, well, it's medieval role play. And I'm like, no, that's cringe. That's cringe, super weird basement dweller nerd shit. We don't do that, okay? So, I did watch the entire show. I did watch all of Dungeon Meshi. Yeah. I get why a lot of people really love it as a D&D story. It's not really the kind of thing that I want to emulate with my game. Not because of anything in particular, it's just not like a main source of inspiration for me. I'm trying to make this an action game, is what the fuck I'm trying to do. That's one of the biggest things that came out of like my revelation from reading Eat the Reich. It's that this is not going to be a war game. I am trying to deviate Vagabond from being a quote-unquote tabletop role-playing game. I want Vagabond to be an action game. I want Vagabond to be an action game where stories are told. Leaning into this idea of like, here's a scene, here's what's going on, we're imagining it in our minds, we're imagining action that's happening right now. I want to lean hard into that idea. I don't really want to keep going on with the idea of like, it's a tactical war game. No. I want to push people towards the idea of, we're in a fight scene right now. That's what's going on, right? I think you're going to get a lot more people who are down for that kind of an experience than continuously going with like, well, it's a tactical role-playing game played on a battle mat in which you... No, come on. You hit shit with a sword, all right? Session 0. Before starting a multi-session campaign, we suggest taking the time for a Session 0. Session 0 involves the GM and players meeting to get on the same page about the themes and topics of the campaign, as well as to create their heroes. We refer to the time spent going over these themes and topics as establishing discretion, right? If Critical Role won't play this, that's fine. They got other games they can play. They made Daggerheart, all right? Herein are a few tools you can use to set discretion at your table. Differing Identity Roleplay. Again, very huge thank you to Eat the Reich, because holy crap, this section in their book was the best I have ever seen in any TTRPG. I love this. Throughout your games, you are likely to embody characters whose gender, ethnicity, neurotypes, spiritual practices, and sexuality may vary from your own. This is a guide, not an authority. Give and take feedback gracefully. You may make mistakes along the way while portraying a character from a marginalized identity you don't share. When others give you good faith feedback on your portrayal, be open to their constructive critique, particularly if they do share that identity, right? So like, look, you can play, like, if I was saying that like I was playing a black character, okay, well, my character being black doesn't have like I don't necessarily need to lean in on harmful stereotype like what we're going to get into, right? In order for me to embody a character that would be black, right? It's like that's just a description of who they are, right? Like that's yeah. If we lean into like if in my mind I'm going like, how am I? What are the things I know about black people to portray this guy? I'm like, look, that can get into some really weird trophy territory and really weird racist territory. All right. So avoid stereotypes and tropes. Simple as Tolkien used ancestries and fantasy to break down social barriers, as showcased with the friendship of Gimli and Legolas. If you bring in real-world racial division, this often gets handled more clumsily and potentially offensively due to the nature of improvisational storytelling. Right? I think that's pretty easy to surmise right there. I don't know that there's too many people that could say like, oh yeah, I can improvise a character who will end racial divide between these people. Look, there is a way that you can gracefully handle maybe these kinds of relationships, right? But more often than not, whenever I have seen people try to lean in on like, aha, I'm a dwarf, so I hate all elves. I'm just like, that is such a boring, whatever. I guess if you want to do that, we can't stop you. That's why this is a guide, but like, come on now. Why? Like, is it just like, that's the thing I know? Broaden your horizons, all right? Or I guess just keep doing the same shit, playing the same dwarf you played over and over and over again. Avoid identity trauma narrative. This was something that I 100% agree with. If you are going to play a character who is from a marginalized identity that you're not a part of, this, again, Eat the Reich here suggesting this, and I wholeheartedly agree. It's fine for your character to mention that you have experienced some type of discrimination in the past, but we advise avoiding dividing into heavier descriptions of situations of bigotry and violence, especially if you do not share the identity of that marginalized identity. Don't get in on some hardcore depicted scene of like talking about you experiencing this kind of whatever. That feels really ick. It feels super weird if like you're a straight person and you go in on this whole thing about you having experienced oppression because of like you being gay. It always feels a little bit weird. All right. I know that there's some people who are probably going to think, wait, what do you mean? I can absolutely do that. I promise you, if you ask your gay friends, like, what do you feel? Like, how do you feel about me describing my character's homosexual oppression and discrimination as your straight friend? They're going to be like, come on. No. So, with that, oh, yeah, ask your, by the way, ask any of your, like, friends of color how they feel about, like, you as a white dude, explaining how you've experienced, like, racial discrimination and your made-up, like, dwarf character, you know? As a bisexual guy, you don't really care if it's done well. It just depends on how it's done, TBH. Well, I mean, this is me kind of guiding that, like, hey, yeah, like, maybe avoid this because I know a majority of people trying to improvise this probably are not going to come up with something that's going to absolutely stick the landing, all right? So, lines and veils. Lines and veils are a helpful tool. Oh, yeah, by the way, I'm not mentioning the X card in here. I've talked about the X card. I don't think it's a great tool, especially in, like, physical, like, play. I don't think that the X card is doing anything that, like, basic conversation and agreement about topics is really gonna be able to, it can't otherwise do. Stanislav Maslowski. Hey, welcome. Wait, where's my... There we go. Where did that go? Wait, is it gone here? No, it was only gone here. I don't know, dude. Screen felt empty. I was like, what happened? Anyways, welcome. This is not for the smartest DM you know. This is for the dumbest DM you know. Yep. Oh yeah. By the way, to a lot of people that are like, I can do this. What are you talking about? Taron, I don't need this. Okay, I'm sure you're a very, very smart game master and you've already armed yourself with all these tools and everything. And that's great for you. That's awesome. I've also got to explain this game to people who have never played a TTRPG before. So, yeah. Now, lines and veils. Lines and veils are a helpful tool in adjusting your table's preferences for certain topics that may come up in-game. In short, these are categories for how some potentially troubling topics will be handled narratively. Line, I do not want this to be brought up. Veil, I'm fine with this subject happening off-screen and not described. During your session 0, it's worth taking the time to check in with everyone to see what their comfort level is with these topics, particularly if you want to dive into more mature themes outside of those expectations covered earlier here. Ask your table how they feel about these topics if you anticipate including them. This is not a checklist to tell a GM they can't use these elements. By the way, this is the thing that a lot of people that were really critical of the Monty Cook checklist were saying constantly, was they were misconstruing the way in which this was supposed to be presented. And if that's the impression they got in earnest and good faith or whatever, then I'm like, okay, if you weren't intentionally misinterpreting that, then maybe the Monty Cook checklist could better convey that, right? But, you know, I know you said Game Master, but it sounded like Game Master. Oh, you know, yeah, there you go. So this is telling you right here and clearing up whenever someone first sees this, what are they looking at? This is not a checklist to tell a GM they can't use these elements. It's meant to make sure everyone at the table would be okay with with what elements are included. This makes sure everyone at the table is on board for what could come up and helps keep each other enjoying the game as much as possible. The following lists are typically known to be common triggers, but are in no way conclusive. And then here's like a list, right? Actually, this is the list that Alchemy provides whenever you go to their VTC. So like straight up, like credit to Alchemy for like where I got this, right? So, well, I don't really feel like I need to really go through the list, but you see it on screen. Yeah. I've thought a couple of times about telling people like there could be interpretations of certain spells or things that like this feels like it's gaslighting narrative. And it's like, well, it's not. If you look at that mirror, then like, I guess that's the way you're kind of seeing that, but it's fine, I guess. Paralysis and restraint. Okay, so like, there's certain aspects of the game that are going to rely on these being a thing that you kind of sign up for. Maybe as the GM, you say like, I just don't include monsters like that, or something, right? We agree not to grapple, I guess. That's on them, but yeah, so just knowing that this is like an example of a common trigger, right? So that is all I've got written here. I don't think that you need to go on beyond like maybe 2 pages for this kind of a section right here. I think the longer that you go on a thing like this, people start to think that your game feels a little bit like it's giving them some ick vibes. So if we stick to it, like, here we go. Boom, boom. Session 0, clear that out. Core expectations. People are aware of the themes right here. This is the guide for your session 0 and what to kind of cover. That's it. That's it. Right? So, chat, what's the thought? What's the read? Because to me, I don't think I need to elaborate on that much more. But if there's something that people are like, hey, Taron, what about this thing that you did not cover? And oh yeah, the X card thing is not going in here. I just, like I was saying earlier, I think in real life play, it's not exactly great, you know? Wording could be better, but it's fine. Well, shit. The X card I've only, I only think is super helpful if like, I don't even really think at a table, it's going to be the universal answer for everybody. I think eventually some people, if something is going to come up so often that you have to like X card out. You know, I think that's a thing that you should probably let people know beforehand. Like, hey, there might be this topic right here. Is it? Yeah. I am streaming. What's up, Chronic? When talking about this stuff, it's usually more casual. This is a book, so I don't know. Yeah. So from there, let's get into the super fun stuff. Okay. Now, I need to come back to this. I do, however, want to show off the new thing. And the new thing, I guess to catch you all up on what all has been going on. So, number one, as far as the class loadouts have gone, you played The Between recently, which was a gothic horror and Penny Dreadful. It had a Google Doc character sheet with a checklist. The GM marked ahead of time what to expect from this session. Yeah, I think that the way I like the checklist presented is if it's a rule or if it's a thing for the GM to say like, hey, these are the topics that are coming up at your table. Please be sure at your session 0 to let players know like what is or is not happening on screen. Let them know like, hey, frank conversation here. I got to make sure as we go through these topics, let me know if this is like a problem, I guess, and whatever makes it comfortable for you. Also, like there's certain things that maybe if I'm like, we're playing Vampire the Masquerade and someone goes, I don't like vampires, then you go, well, maybe this isn't the game for you. And that needs to be fine. That needs to be fine. Yeah. Right here, it was unclear for your games. You always ask your players to send me trigger warnings. I have actually seen some pretty good pushback about that. Part of the reason why I also critique the Money Cook checklist is I heard of people talking about how they don't feel comfortable giving somebody a checklist that is essentially their fears. I'm like, you know what? Especially at a convention where it's like, you're handing that off to a stranger. I get you. I actually absolutely get you. There's even like, I just don't feel like maybe divulging some of that info. You know, whatever. Yeah. So it's another thing that I'm like, you know, maybe you just, yeah. You have a lot of players with arachnophobia. As long as you use the cartoon spider, it's fine. The funny thing, I have seen 2 really funny arachnophobia settings in video games. The first one was in ENnie. In ENnie, if you turn on arachnophobia mode, it turns all the spiders and the giant crabs, which was fucking hilarious. And then if you use it in Lethal Company, it literally just turns it into a 3D text that says, yeah, Lethal Company. It just turns the spiders into 3D text that just says spider. It's so fucking funny. Oh, man. Spider-Man Skyrim? Not familiar with that. Wait, did Skyrim have an arachnophobia mode? Wait, what? Hang on, does it? Oh, mod. What did it do? Turns them into bears? Oh, all the spiders become bears. That's funny. Satisfactory turns spiders into pictures of kittens. Oh, man. It turns them into Spider-Man and others. That's hilarious. Yeah, no, Lethal Company arachnophobia mode. Yeah. I'm just making sure. Yeah, in Lethal Company, if you turn on arachnophobia mode, this is what happens. So fucking funny. Oh, I love that. Barony. There we go. Yeah, Barony. Very cake. They function basically the exact same way. Boom. They get turned into crabs. It's that's it. That's it. It's so cake. Yeah, so for some of those situations, it's like, I try to think of it like this. And this is the way that I try to phrase it to people who, even whenever they're very, like, anti-censorship, I at least try to say it like this. Whenever you're, like, a lot of the safety tool discussion got pushed as this idea of, these are ways in which the players can fuck with the thing that you have created. And that's not necessarily the way they're intended to work. However, people are really bad because this is a very cottage, small industry. People have been pretty bad about not really accounting for how some people may misinterpret what they say, right? So that was the big issue around the Monty Cook gaming checklist. It got twisted into saying that, like, well, if you're a GM, this is something that's trying to censor your stories and censor your writing. And that's not the case. It was basically making sure that everyone was cool with, like, these things getting brought up, if they were going to get brought up, you know? Because not everyone was... Okay, whenever this hobby got super popular, not everyone was really familiar with, like, the kinds of experiences or the kinds of stories that might wind up getting told with it, right? A lot of it was just, haha, horny Bart dick joke. Like, that was the thing that got people into D&D. So, like, then suddenly they get into it and then hear about situations like Adam Coble doing a simulated sexual assault against a character. I have seen the Community D&D episode, yes. They've done 2 of them, right? But yeah, so these are things that not everybody would know might be a thing that could come up during a TTRPG game, you know? And that's really what it's all about, is this checklist is not a matter of telling people, like, you can't do this in your game. It's more a matter of, like, presenting you with things that, hey, might come up in a TTRPG. So just, like, make sure with your players, like, they're cool with that. Because if you're just going, like, hey, you better be cool with this or else, like, you're a pussy, and you just... What fucking big man are you? Like, is that your real measure for, like, you're not a real alpha male unless you're cool with there being spiders in this game? It's like, fuck out of here. Oh, man. Okay. Now, Luminari. So, this class has had a weird life. It felt to me originally like it was doing pretty good as the healer. You're essentially getting a better Revivify, right? Like, versus the GM kept making Neil fat. The problem with Luminari originally, I guess the thing that really got brought up, is that people weren't a big fan of other classes being able to heal better than the dedicated healer, right? Yours always next. So people weren't really big fans of the fact that through perk choices and other class features simply being better, Luminari just kind of got left in the dust. Healer Wizard was looking better. Before Druid got some changes, Healer Druid was looking really good. Healer Revelator was also doing really well. Those other classes got a bit of that healing scaled back, and the Luminari really got pushed forward as this is a big old blast healer, and it won't lose the ability for it to also spec a bit into damaging magic. So the first thing that I got rid of, if you look in the spells known, it's no longer life and cure, it's life and light. This makes sure they're running out there and they have a damaging and support spell. Okay? Cake. Absolutely cake. Moving forward from there. This used to be a perk. It absolutely makes way too much sense to just be the core cool thing for the Luminari. All healing rolls from spells you cast explode on a roll of 1, and when they explode, you can remove one status affecting the target from either charmed, confused, dazed, frightened, paralyzed, or sickened. Woo! That is a big-ass list. Now, this is only triggering whenever you do life, you cast it up with mana, right? So you cast it, you have the mana. All right. The other aspect of this is an issue that comes up quite often with healer character options in games. One of my favorite things, and I'll kind of talk about, actually, there was another game that inspired this, the 4th level, that, I don't know, some of you might or might not have played. They won't need to spec into Cure, correct? If they're, I mean, they still might want to, because Cure gets rid of it without the mana. This, however, does require the mana if you're going to trigger it off of life, right? But let's say, okay, here, 1 mana, right? Now, it's going to explode on a roll of 1, so I don't feel like I'm wasting the spell, right? Okay, so that's a 5, all right? They got back 5 health. I need to do another one. They're actually confused. Okay, that's a 3. We don't get rid of that, but they still got health. There's the 1. Okay, we can end one of these conditions. All right, and that explodes. So I can roll it again. Oh, wow. So we're trying to tackle a couple different issues that's happening with this right here. Or that's really happened with healers as a concept. Number 1, if you use your turn to do this, rather than dealing damage, if you use your turn to heal rather than dealing damage, and your roll is fairly low, okay, you could probably wind up kind of fucking yourself there, because if the enemy is just dealing damage anyways, no real progress has gotten made, right? And it really sucks, especially if you're trying to be a healer and you do roll low. It just kind of feels like, well, fuck, I could have at least done anything else to like get a bit of excitement out of that. So now, healing on a roll of 1, it explodes, shores that up, right? If they want to go and get the for sure, like, cure to these other things, they can go get the other spell to do that. But this is just kind of an oomph on top of something that already would kind of like, meh, okay, that's not super great, right? It also kind of helps with these effects of like, okay, well, they're charmed and dazed. Shit, well, there was 1. Well, we got rid of the condition. That's cool. And I get to re-roll it. Oh, wait, there's another 1. We can get rid of the... Oh, my God. And then there's a 5. Okay, so they got back 7 health. And we got rid of 2 of their effects. It was super lucky, but it happened. You know, I like that idea. Yeah. Think this is balanced? You don't know if it feels good? I think I like it. Overheal. If a being regains health from a spell you cast that exceeds its maximum health, you can grant the excess to yourself or a being in sight. This is just a little bit more reliability right here. That's about it. Now, Evercure. This is actually inspired by Hylix. Hylix knew there was a really smart move that Mason Lindroth made whenever he was designing the healing magic in that game. And that is, you don't just remove a condition, you are immune to that condition for a round. Oh, God, that's so much better. You don't get stuck in this endless fucking, like, cycle because of turn-based combat of, like, well, they got hit with this thing again. Now we gotta wait. All right, well, I guess it's time for us to trigger that. And they got hit with it again. Oh my God, we're gonna have to wait for this, you know, whatever. This is not causing a stall state. This is helping to get rid of a commonly caused loop whenever you play a healer archetype and feel like your turns are getting wasted. This allows you to do this thing, know it's going to stick, and go off and do something else for the next round. You're not stuck doing the same goddamn thing every turn, right? This is a quality assurance thing right here. Yeah, no more Rock'em Sock'em robots for statuses. Yeah. sounded like a weird noise my computer might have made. I hope it's fine. Let's save everything. Save. Okay. I don't know what's making it make that noise. Uh-oh. Should that not be standard instead of a class feature? What, like if you cure a status runs out? No. The problem is it's based off of if you are going into this as a caster, this is the identity you're trying to get across right here, right? You can still play ping pong until like 4th level. Well, if you go and you get cure and you focus on it, they can't be affected by that thing, right? So there are other effects that allow you to already subvert this issue, but this is baking it into the core of the class. There are other ways that you could go about not be quote unquote wasting that, but this is just something that is like here, ever present, ready to go, right? And the other aspect of this is, notice this builds off of this right here. When you remove a status that is affecting the target, they are immune to it for the entire round. That's why this is kicking in right here. Ooh, that feels really good. We've got a synergy happening right here, right here, right here. Revivify, you're able to like revive things better than anyone else. That's okay, cool. Saving Grace. All healing rolls from spells you cast explode on a roll of 1 or 2. That is huge. This is mega huge. And it's reliable because if I'm going to be casting this up, let's say, oh, I don't know, 3 mana. 3 mana on a life spell. Okay, didn't get one there, but they healed for 12. That's cool. Let's go with another 3 mana. Ooh, 1, 2, all 3 of those exploded. I can remove 3 conditions from them, and they're immune to those for the turn. Sick. And they got 1, 2, 3, that's 5 health back. And I get to re-roll that. 5, 6, 9, 12, 15 health. For 3 mana, Luminari is healing incredibly well. Incredibly fucking well. No, they don't normally explode when rolling max. No, that's not bog standard for this. On the healing rolls, it's more so lifting up the floor, not like lifting up the ceiling, you know. Life Giver. Beings you revive don't gain fatigue from the revival. If they died as a result of gaining 5 fatigue, they are revived at 4 fatigue. Easy. Cake. The one I wanted to make sure on was... I needed to double check on this. Gain 1 fatigue. Doing so... right. This is extremely good. Regaining the D6 mana at the start of your turns for the 1 minute, you do have this phase. I do think that what needs to happen here is that this that probably needs to be there. But is it overpowered? What the shit? Was that in the song? Am I just hearing shit? What is happening? This feature, what? So what I think this needs to do is do the 2 fatigue, because with the 2 fatigue, we know that you can get this once, twice. You do it a 3rd time, you're dead. this is limiting it to where it's at least like you can only do this twice in a day. Because like you do anything more than that, this is already so good. You regain D6 mana at the start of your turns for 1 minute. Is always incredible. And you do not have an augment maximum for your spells. Is fucking wild. Absolutely fucking wild. This right here, if you die as a result of doing this, like, I love the idea of giving you that, like, Vegeta Final Flash moment. We gotta watch out for it. Because you reducing all your health to do tap, and then going over here to just become the super nuke is scary good. What needs to happen here? Hang on. If you die from this reduction, this cast resolves before your death. And there we go. Now you can't. Yeah. Now it's not so much a you die and can be revived. Now it's a you die and they're gonna have to figure some shit out to try and get you back. Yeah. Because originally Sorcerer, you died, but it was just like, oh, they've fallen over and we're gonna revive the Sorcerer. But with the narrative of saying your body is vaporized, now it's like a, oh, fuck. Well, I mean, he did blow that thing up. Yeah. What about Luminari skills? Yeah, they got leadership, yeah. But I do love how funny that is, and thinking like, yeah, I'm gonna play the Sorcerer, and then people are like, dude, you gotta, you know what you gotta do, man. Yeah, there's a like you explode. That's funny, I guess. You vaporize is such a like, oh fuck. Yeah, merchant. We'll get there. Yes, they did get leadership over here. But yeah, I was kind of trying to make sure this was all in line. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Now, yeah, load them into a Sorcerer Cannon. I do have an adventure idea that plays on what Sorcerer is to Vagabond. Yeah. You think that they should get Arcana too? Kind of be the Philosophers too? Well, sure. Let's give it to him. Okay. All right, so let's talk about the new hotness. Okay. So, first off, why did I get rid of the Cypher? I wanted to make the Cypher a very cool glyph mage, where like they were able to put a glyph onto things, and like imbue weapons, and this felt super sick, and they were like a craftsman of some kind. Things are going to be awesome, whatever. What this turned into was people putting 7 glyphs onto a rock and throwing fucking glyph bombs all over the place. And I kept on constantly having to chip away at the system to make things more in line, so that class wouldn't run out of control. And then that turned into, this is just a more complicated Magus. And then that turned into, this thing just doesn't feel right for the voice of the game. I really didn't want to remove it. I didn't want to pull it. I fought with myself about it, and then finally I just decided, like, it functions way different from everything else. It needs to get pulled, but we need to bring something else in. I had ideas for a merchant for a while for Vagabond that I'm kind of implementing right now. You'll see, and then people in the Discord have already seen previews of this. Yeah. Can you play a merchant goblin that sells shiny rocks? No, unfortunately, that's the only one that we've said you can't ever play that. We actually put... But the thing is, it's not that, like, you can't make it in the game. It's that we specifically said to Tanya can't do that in the game. I'm sorry, it had to happen. Now, to move on from there, with the merchant. So what I'm thinking about with this right now is I love the idea of traveling merchant, well versed. I love the idea that Vagabond has a more cemented value system and item weight that we can toy with. So, first off, oh yeah, and I also love the fact that I'm basically telling people we're not playing a heavy simulation in this game. This is a fucking doofy-ass, like, fun fantasy adventure action game. So, like, you're gonna have to get over the fact of, like, this character can do some shit that seems to, like, fuck with the agency a bit. I'm gonna have to tell DMs out there if they're like, I really don't like the fact that my players can control this thing. I'm like, I don't know, get over it. But, yeah. Now, yeah, it's so dull and boring, right? Yeah. Now, Gold Sink. You can make attacks with crude weapons using craft, and can use your move to take the use action. If you take the use action to place valuables into a container and close it, you can open that container and magically materialize an item of your choice of equal or lesser value to the valuables you placed in it. Okay? So what does this do? Whenever I wrote the merchant for 5e, I did a whole thing where, like, you needed a portable storefront, and, like, it was... if I were redesigning the merchant today, I would make that infinitely easier, right? Can I rename the merchant to the Vagabond, since this guy is a traveling merchant and is the adventurer? Merchant, but people know what the merchant is. Like, here we go. They get it, right? So what this is doing is, it is literally a gold sink, right? Can the merchant have the sneak skill? Why would they need it? Why? For, like, a very specific build? I mean, is there a narrative justification for that? Or is it just, like, they need it? Yeah, you can be a magician. Yes. The Resident Evil merchant? I have not played Resident Evil 4. And if that's the only source of inspiration, I'm looking for more broad strokes, right? So, you can take the use in action. You place something in the container, right? Something that has value. And then you can draw something out of it, right? You, Sir Richard Hoare, for your antiquary class fellow royal of the Society for the Italic thing, for the iconic class thing. I am not familiar with who that is. I'd have to look that up. Now, Peddler. You can perform the appraise task. Ooh, wait, what, Taron? What is this? Appraise. New scene task. You can determine the value and general properties of an item by spending a a scene doing so. How about this? An object. By spending a scene doing so and making a craft check. If you pass, you learn the item's value and possibly some lore about it. This does not normally reveal if it is cursed. Now, you can perform the appraise task as an action rather than a scene task, and learn if the item is cursed if you pass. You do it quicker. Boom! You do it faster, and if you learn that if you do pass it, now you do learn if it's cursed, right? What counts as a container? If you play a dwarf with a massive beard, can I use gold sink with it? Sure. Sure. If that's fun, let it happen, right? Now, expertise. I have expertise in here. I mean, people have been saying that, like, sure, this is the one that feels like it should be an expert. At the same time, I do have a different idea for this. And let me just kind of basically elaborate on that. This was moved into a perk. I fought with this for a second. And I was like, no, it's too perfect. It needs to go on. Hunter would love this. Padfoot. Dragon Quest 4, by the way, for the ability name. Once per day, you gain a studied die when you spend a ship task to travel. Ah! So good. Oh, I love that. I love this little, like, oh yeah, I learned by, like, roving. That's sick. I love that idea. That is, yeah, it's very good. You know who else really likes this? Fucking Alchemist. Alchemist, this feels like foraging, right? You want to play an Alchemist? Boy, you should pick this one up. This is going to be very good. Because now it's like, from traveling, there were materials I picked up along the road. Yeah, right. Wizard. Wizard, out here, I guess we could say, like, they're more of a in tune with the spirits. They pass by a ley line, whatever. Padfoot. Yes. Oh, I love this. This was such a fun, like, easy cake narrative right here. I think that this perk is going to be, especially in longer campaigns, standard MO. Like, standard fucking MO. Hunters, just pick it up. Because it's such a flavor win. Like, yeah, super well on all. Yeah, scouts and stuff. This is, I wrote this originally for the merchant, and I was like, it's too cool for too many classes. I'm going to have to move this around. So now, Padfoot's in there. Now, I had fought back and forth because I was thinking it would be really cool to give them something in here that they could do with, like, if you do appraise an item and it's worth more than 10 gold, then you get a studied die. Every wording I was coming up, I could make it work, but it was so clumsy. I was like, I need to just do something different. You can't find the definition of study die in version 1.2. Can I check? It's in the study activity right here. Yeah. If you study, choose a skill you practice and study, then you then gain a study die. With these skill, oh wait. Here. Oh, yeah. That's why that needed to be... It was originally more specific, and now it doesn't need to be. On... Yep. Okay, hang on. If you study, you gain a study die, which is a d6 bonus you can apply to a check you make in the next 24 hours. Okay, there we go. That's easier. If you study, you gain a study die. A D6 bonus. Yeah, right? D6. There we go. You'd add single use? Oh, I guess it doesn't need that, huh? Wait. Hang on. I'm not getting the timing on this right. Right? Okay, hang on. Now I feel like I've read this so much. Now it's not afterwards, not afterwards. Afterwards? I always keep fucking that up. I don't get it. I don't know why. I'm like, yeah, that's how it needs to work. And then immediately people are like, that's dumb. Implies the die is, yeah. You must declare before the roll? Yes. Squidward's what? Adds a failsafe that it's not spin if you still fail. Well, then they just add that to every check that, I mean, you know? Well, I guess not because it's spent, right? But what's the narrative on that? Well, I guess it's like, aha, I got it here. But like, well, wait. Yeah, you can apply more than one die per check. I mean, you could, and that's like, you know. You thought it was an intentional typo or style choice? No, I just don't. I look. I majored in music. All right. It was a jazz studies major. The fail? No, I don't mind the failsafe. I'm just trying to think of it for play. It's not Taron's fault. He never went to a real school. If it were called Coda, you know how to spell it? Yeah, Koda. Go. Should study dice be bold? Nothing else is. Nah, we're fine. Don't overthink it. If used on a check that passes, the die is lost. Wait, yeah. If used... Wait, if the check passes... Right? The die would look better with a capital D. Nothing else capitalizes that. I wouldn't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Are there any other D6 bonuses? I mean, kinda. I mean, are you asking me for something very specific off the top of my head? I don't know for sure, but I do know that they exist. Only one study die per roll? No, I'm not worried about that. If they want to like blow all these potentially, because like if they do that and they're risking losing all of these, which are like a really good resource for other shit, then like, yeah. Tell you as a DM, you always let your players use bonuses like that to turn a fail into a success. I mean, you can use that for your table. It is kind of funny to do. Okay, wait. That would be kind of funny. I guess I didn't need to get snippety there. It would be kind of funny to do that as a... You spend this to turn a pass into a fail, and it's literally study. But wait, wizard can add it to damage. Is there a reason you use study die instead of favor? Yeah, it's just something fun. It's another die to roll. And there's other things that add it to checks. Does this paragraph account for adding study die to damage or healing? Yeah, because those are separate mechanics. I mean, anything that allows you to add it to damage is accounted for as like wizard. Motherfucker! Motherfucker! Oh! Okay. Okay, hang on. Now, this is a limited thing. Hang on. Change the name? I'm gonna leave it like that just to fuck with you. I don't even know what it would be. I don't even know what it would be. You leave it like that, every fighter is gonna get bullied. I'm not leaving it in here. Come on. We know better than that. Y'all know me. This can't be after each. No, I was just trying to think of like what this would be that would be interesting. What's happening with the fighter? Hello, the perks? What? This can't be the trigger. A Princess of War? I would just be like... I don't even that's a little too self-serious. Oh, what's the funny? I guess funny is not the right word. What's the like? All right. One of the things that's been helpful is going through perks and seeing things that we repurpose as a perk that make too much sense as a class feature. Yeah, there's like weapon of choice is slick. When you use luck to gain favor on an attack check, fighter addicted to fighting people to gain study die, yeah. Maybe once per combat, you can add a study die to an attack check or dodge save. You can't hoard them. Is Rogue getting a rework right now and wants expertise as class features? No. It's good and simple. I like where the Rogue's sitting right now. Everybody that I've heard playing the Rogue has had fun with it. By the way, a lot of people got to realize I'm not making a 5e adjacent or contrast or anything like that. There's plenty of games, DC20, MCDM RPG, all these games that are going in a way more crunchy direction. Vagabond is not. This game is chewy. We are the only other game that I think kind of sits in the same category as Vagabond, at least that I've studied and played, was Shadow Dark. We're both kind of occupying a space that is more in the mid ground, not quite rules light. Yeah, gummy. Yeah, fucking hate that term. Ugh, gummy. Man, there was an idea I had, but I'm just not a huge fan of constantly swapping out shit like this. We need it to be good. We need it to be kind of generic. God, Conceit is so good, though. I have had way too many people picking this one up. If you pass a dodge or parry check against an attack, the next attack you make before the end of your next turn is favored. Like, this is so good. Toothsome. Sherlock can envision and pre-plan his moves to swiftly dispatch of his opponents. What? Here's the thing. What is core to combat a fighter's combat fantasy? Hey, the things that we're always asking, right? This is cool. It does involve you having to remember a thing. The thing I'm not a huge fan of is I guess it's okay. If you pass a dodge or parry check against an attack, the next attack you make before the end of your next turn is favored. So, it's kind of like a follow-up. If it's over here, then, like, Barbarian can get it. And, like, sure, Barbarian looks really good with that. Don't auto-defenstrate? What? What the fuck? What? Wait. Shit, did I just catch how this... Wait. If you have a melee weapon equipped with a one-hand grip, and it's the only weapon you have equipped, dodge saves you make are favored if you're within 5 feet of the target. Wait. There we go. Auto defense rate is throw yourself out a window. Huh. Is multi-classing allowed in Vagabond? Read through the book, you haven't seen it stated that it is not allowed. Because if I say that something does not work and then other people are like, fuck you, we're going to do it anyways, then I'm like, oh, okay, whatever. So I just like I don't cover it. I don't think multi-classing should be allowed, but like I'm also like whatever. People are going to take and do whatever they want to with the game. But the thing that I will tell anybody that's going to allow multi-classing is like look, I didn't design the game with that in mind. I kind of keep some stuff at like the back of my mind when it comes to the game. Multiclassing is something that I kind of try to stay aware of, but it's not the expectation. There are not rules in here because I don't want to encourage it. I generally just dislike conversations that evolve around a game whenever multiclassing is involved. I realize from like not really getting involved with a lot of 5e discussion and then watching the way that people are talking about the new core rulebook, how much I hate hearing people go on forever about like 5e character build discussions. It's not for me. That's not saying that like, you know, if they're for you that it's a bad thing. I can't help it. I fucking snore. Yeah. So I personally, to me, just want to make like, okay, I know I'm playing a fighter. That should be cool and fun. Why do multi-class rules frustrate you? Because inevitably it always kind of turns every discussion about a game into like, how to crunch something out that is like whatever. It tends to be a thing that becomes a huge bump whenever you're, it tends to become a huge bump whenever we get into class design. And I'm always having to think about like, is this future proof for like this combination over here? You're no longer just thinking about it like, I really like playing chess, or I really like playing checkers. I like moving the pieces over. And then suddenly someone slams down a bishop and then you're like, well, fuck. Somewhere out there, Christian somehow felt angry at you and doesn't know why. No, I've told people before, like, whenever it comes to, like, heavy crunch and, like, discussions in DPR, it's not the thing that really interests me about a game. That's not to say that other people are doing it wrong or anything like that, but it's just, there's a certain level of crunch that, like, I'm not even remotely interested in, you know? And I've also seen where like games get so crunchy that it causes intentional misinterpretation. Because then those people think like they must have accounted for everything. And then it turns into bad faith interpretation. And I'm like, I just use common sense. Yeah, the amount of perks in the game more than make up for the level of customization. Yeah. Well, I think talents don't share the same problem. Do they get wait. Do I think talents don't share the same problem, or they get low power enough? What, you mean the perks I got over here? I'm like, I don't know, we'll see. I think there's some that are really good, but like it's essentially just picking up something that I would have put as a class feature that is just a like mechanical kind of like oomph, right? These are typically things that aren't like a thing I can super quantify, and we do kind of have to feel out. But more so, I just want to make sure that it makes sense. And, I mean, that's the most important thing, number one. Whenever you're designing, you don't start doing your balance or DPR shit, like, just because you wrote a thing, right? One last gripe, our gun's supposed to be so weak, a handgun dealing the same damage as a punch just doesn't sit right with you. I mean, like, there have been plenty of people who have survived getting shot in the head with a handgun. You think people get confused as well? Character options don't equal crunch. More about the extra subsystems, too much status tracking, etc. Yeah. That's another thing. I'm like, here's my deal. Whenever I have a character sheet up, I really only want the info to fit on like 1 or 2 pages. Like, if I have a character sheet that requires 4 pages, there's a problem. There is a huge issue I have with 5e feature writing that only after I really, really sat with Vagabond and was like, yeah, I like this level of writing. Like, I like this level of, like, ooh, clean. Alright. You all will get a taste of this whenever my video for Kraken Week drops. Kraken Week drops next week. Here we go. Okay. This is one of the things that, like, I just really don't like about 5e, like, text. A lot of times there are features that they'll get where I'm like, I need to know, I just want to know what it does for me. I don't really want to read a whole lot. Just give me the damn, like, give me the damn feature. What does it do for me mechanically, right? So, if I look at Reckless Attack, starting at 2nd level, you can throw aside all concern for defense to attack with Fierce Desperation. When you make your first attack on your turn, you can decide to attack recklessly. Doing so gives you advantage on melee weapon attack rolls using strength during this turn, but attack rolls against you have disadvantage until your next turn. I keep forgetting how much of a mouthful 5e sentences are until I come back and read them again. Starting at 2nd level. Okay, so this could just be 2nd level Barbarian. They've been changing over to this format. Even, like, this isn't dunking on D&D just because, like, Wizards of the Coast, rah, 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 rah. No. This is legitimately a critique of the way that they format stuff for 5e that even they have acknowledged they need to change, right? So, this was also printed back during the PHB. So again, remember that. Keep that in mind, right? So, 2nd level Barbarian feature. Boom. Let's get rid of this whole entire first fucking sentence right here. I hate flavor text. Flavor text is an excuse to bloat out your page count. If you cannot convey some flavor with your mechanic, flavor text is a band-aid. So Reckless Attack. When you make your first attack on your turn, you can decide to attack recklessly. Okay. So because 5e is individual initiative, it does need to say, I guess, on your turn. But why not just say, like... okay, so the trigger is, when I make my attack, I can forgo... So let's see here. Doing so gives you advantage on melee. Yeah. When you make your first attack on your turn, you can give yourself advantage on melee weapon attacks using strength. Yeah, melee weapon attacks. Attack rolls, we can get rid of that. Like, if I'm thinking big level, not just 5e's natural language, because 5e's natural language has some flaws. And also, just make it melee weapon attacks. Like, just make it melee weapon attacks. There's zero reason to have using strength in here. Most of the melee weapon attacks, if it's like, they used a dagger, so now they're using finesse, it's like, I guess the restriction is, like, they wanted to synergize with rage all the time, and, like, not rogue and sneak attack, but, like, honestly, kind of who cares? Attack rolls against you have advantage until your next turn. Okay. So, like, this whole, like, what? 1, 2, 3, 3. Okay. I think you can express the same mechanic in, like, maybe a sentence or two. I think we can pull this stuff back, you know? Planning on a Warlock equivalent, or is Witch enough? I think that Witch is going to be fine for right now. The reason why I'm not working with a Warlock at the moment is, essentially it goes like this. If I were to put a Warlock in Vagabond, and it wasn't functioning exactly how the Warlock in 5e works, people are going to complain. If I put a Warlock in Vagabond, and it functions exactly like what the Warlock in 5e does, people are going to complain. I just would rather not deal with having that class, because magic operates entirely differently in Vagabond, and I just don't really feel the need for it whenever we have all this other stuff going on. Maybe in the future there could be like a Warlock, but as of right now, I just have zero inspiration to really write one. Anything that I would write, it's going to fall into that line of either honestly always thinking about 5e's Warlock or not thinking about it. Yeah. Oh, you can still synergize with Rogue too, since Rogue says it's just a finesse weapon, not a weapon using Dex. Yep, thank you. Yep. That's right. So then, like, yeah, why is this even here? Yeah, melee attack roll. I guess they're like, well, because we don't want you to use a spell when you already got that up here with rage. So like, why? There's so many things about their text that I'm just like, it's overwritten. Get rid of all the flavor text because it's just not adding anything. Reckless attack. The name should be enough to be the fucking like war drum of like, yes, give me that. Like if it doesn't and the mechanic doesn't convey that, then the mechanic isn't really telling a good Ludo narrative. You know, yeah. So I think there's a lot of things, like, especially coming from 5e text, that I try to pull away from because they bloat up too much space on a page, on a character sheet. And I think it makes a lot of people who would otherwise be interested in the experience of a TTRPG look at it and just not want to play. I know of people, like, here's a really, really funny thing, okay? A lot of us that feel like, yes, it's not that complicated. I've read TTRPGs. I know TTRPGs. Okay, look, I am playtesting with people who have literally told me their feedback was there were too many words on that page and I didn't want to play it because of that. That's what I'm looking for. Like, if I put D&D in front of someone and they're like, I've got to read all that, I don't want to play it. Like, that's what I'm looking for, you know? Not the like, ow, well, this system isn't crunchy enough for me. No, I'm looking for the people who are like, dude, I would play Monopoly, but like, I gotta count money. No, I'm good. That's what I'm trying to go for. I want to find that football fucking jock and be like, hey man, you want to play a barbarian? Here you go. Yeah, usability radicalism is very good. Yeah, I want to find that meathead jock and be like, hey, look, D&D, I know you got a concussion right now, but like, here's Vagabond. How do you feel about playing Barbarian? And they're like, okay, yeah, like, yeah, I want that guy. I want that guy to give me feedback, not extreme tactical mastermind. I want surface level monkey brain. Right. Any advice on homebrewing enemies in Vagabond? Sorry, all the questions. Just time to get caught up on stream. Sleep a little bit, so you want to get as much answers as possible. Learn, kind of learn the format of Basic Expert. So for Vagabond's damage structure, it is entirely based on Basic Expert D&D. If you look at Basic Expert, all those stat blocks should be essentially compatible. Otherwise, there's a guideline in here about converting Basic Expert monsters into 5e. I've converted almost everything from Basic Expert, I want to say. There might be a couple that I'm still missing, but, you know. A couple things that you should be aware of. So, I try to give decent summaries of those in here. Big things, hit dice. Make sure you're always indicating the hit dice. Where are you getting this number from? It's kind of just come up with something, you know? A general idea of its size, I guess, but also go over and look at what was going on with Basic Expert as well. So, like, a Cat of Lepus, this thing is roughly about the same hit die as, like, cattle, right? Cows, what are you getting? I know for sure that this thing, most likely, its most reliable thing is going to be its tail melee attack. It's going to want to thump people with this, go up and hit them with its noxious breath, get them with the death ray if it can, right? Otherwise, we know its most reliable thing it can always do is going to be its tail. So this thing, it's a pretty nice fat sack of hit points. Armor of 2 is really good, it turns out. Hit dice are D8s. Very few systems that use hit dice or indicate hit dice are deviating from the idea that a hit die is not a D8. Or, sorry, that a hit die is a D8. Ever since Basic Expert, it's just been agreed upon that, like, this is a damage structure that works, that we know a hit die is a D8. Yeah. So otherwise, speed. This is do something that you think makes sense for it. I gave I guess the idea that if it has like a dex of 2 in the system, it's going to be like 25 feet. Things like that. Are there additional classes past the 18 being added? Is the Mystic still being planned? I have multiple classes in mind for the future. I don't have, I mean, anything that's getting added to the core, I'm probably not going to add much of it. Oh, wait, shit. Rook rated? Wait, really? I didn't see an alert. Oh, maybe because it's only going through Twitch. Rook, did you raid? Did you raid me, dude? I didn't see. Was he streaming today? Oh, dude. Sorry, you two. Hey. Hey, man. How's it going? Good to see you, dude. Everyone in chat who's not familiar, Rook Zero is an artist like working in the TTRPG industry. He goes and just like if you want to get your TTRPG character sketched up, go over hang out in Rook's channel. That's what he does all the time over there. Currently working on the Sagas TTRPG. Yeah, busy. Yeah, dude. I know you. Well, and I was seeing some of the stuff because Ken was giving me some peeks at some of the cool shit you guys are doing with Sagas, and I was like, man, it's crazy because like some of that stuff I genuinely couldn't pen that it was you because I'm like I've seen so much of your style over time that it felt like, wait, holy shit, this is Rook? Oh no, okay, yeah, man. Everybody go subscribe to Rook if you're not already. And even if you are, make a second account and go sub. How you doing, man? So as far as the zones go, I give a brief description, but like if their most powerful attack is going to be a melee attack, we know that they need to get up close to do this, so we're most likely telling you frontline. If they don't have a melee attack and it's all range stuff, they're backline. If they're casters, they're backline. If they have a melee attack that is really good, but they don't have a ton of hit points, this can get a little bit murky, but most likely they may be a midliner. Especially if they have a melee attack and a ranged attack, they're a midliner. That's that like hit back up playstyle. Your commission work is a lot more than the stream sketches, man. Yeah, the oh well, I also think dwarf
goblins.
I think that Elliot Canada, hey, welcome. Based off of all the fucking crazy news happening with Twitch and everything, I think TTRPG YouTube streams might start picking up a little bit. I mean, as it all depends on the news cycle. But yeah, after hearing all the crazy shit going on with like the Dr. Disrespect ban, I am thinking that like YouTube streaming might start really kicking off. I mean, all depends. But I'm super stoked if we start getting more like, Twitch streamers over here in this. Yeah. I think that like this could be such a cool architecture. Like this could be a really cool community. Is that yeah that but that's also it's also unraveling into a bit more than just what was going on with Dr. Disrespect, and it's starting to unravel into Twitch is starting to harbor some sketchy shit over there. Beyond sketchy shit, evil shit. You gotta ask, 1.3 is going to contain the merchant and fighter changes as well as the other stuff in the changelog? Yeah. Yep. YouTube needs to step up their game. Actually, this is a thing that Rook and I have talked about more than like once. YouTube for streaming is not bad, but it just doesn't have the community tools that you get over on Twitch, right? Like, over on Twitch, rating is like way easier. Like, what Rook just had to do was go in, edit his video, go down to the redirect, and send that over to me, right? Whereas in Twitch, it's just a command that you type in chat. And that's cake. But like over here on YouTube, and I get why they do this, because they want you to be able to redirect to like one of your videos if you wanted to do that and send your audience to go like watch that. But like, who the fuck does that? Keep rating. Like, let's, you know, build up this cycle of people that want to hang out and pass that stuff around, you know? With Merchant replacing Cypher, will there be a change to the game pound stretch goal? Yeah, and we're also, the game pound thing is getting kicked back. There will be a shakeup on that. So yeah. Hey, what up, Trek? And when you sent your chat, you got kicked out of it. God, yeah. Yeah, YouTube's best move that they could do right now, like, they're too big to fail for sure, but the best move that they could do right now is really focusing on the UI streamer side. And trying to focus on building up a community around that. But I think a big part of that is going to be YouTube is going to have to completely rethink their homepage. Like, the homepage has got to get a bit more friendly for interactions than just like, here's a splatter of 20 videos you might like, and then, you know, turning it into like an experience of coming to the site. Because YouTube's UI is fucking dog shit. Absolute dog shit. This is where Twitch is really winning right now. Is that Twitch, if you go like look at the site, it looks appealing. You feel like you are like in an app. And YouTube just feels like slapped together HTML. It has for a while. It just, there's not like a presentation to it. It's like, fucking, here's YouTube. But yeah, more tools for streaming, integration, make it easier for like games to connect an API through YouTube chat. By the way, emotes that will actually animate and shit. Like, I have tried doing custom emotes for my like you know, members and all that shit for like 2 or 3 years, and they've never worked. They have never worked for me. 2009 YouTube layout was better. Ooh, I mean, that's a take. Animated emotes would be so amazing. It seems like such a low bar. You know, I think like maybe with just the fact that YouTube has a lot more going on for like their server base than what like Twitch has. You know what I mean? Like, it's got to be crazy expensive to fucking operate what YouTube's trying to operate. Okay, not each combat. What does this need to be? Is this even remotely interesting? You add it to an attack check. You can also add it to the damage. I mean, that's nice, right? But like, okay, what? Hang on. I'm talking website or app? What, like YouTube-wise? Their app is okay. Okay, like... Oh, no. Glicker and Mark Cypher are talking about why D&D art matters way more than you think. Oh, no. They're stepping into that fucking shit pile. Please tell you I use dark mode. I use dark mode, yes. YouTube will give you bigger audiences, but the tools they give you are mainly pay for retention rather than community engagement. Yes, yeah, I would rather have like fun shit that like my community could do than like, I would rather have fun shit that my community can do in chat rather than like, oh, okay, well here it's just basic and I can see you guys going by and, you know, like if people are actually encouraged to like talk and like interact or whatever, because it never fails. I'll go to like a Twitch chat or like a Twitch stream and it just seems like brain dead emote spam, and I'm like, the fuck is happening here, you know? There's like getting engaged with it and everything, but like it also feels like Twitch is just like an ADHD goddamn sensory overload machine. Trying to see. I didn't want to get too distracted. I had a intent here. All right. So, all right. Kelsey, what the hell did you do in Shadow Dark? It's like... Fighter. Yeah, okay, weapon mastery, basically what I had before. Choose strength or dexterity. You have advantage on checks to overcome an opposing force such as yeah, that is pretty basic MO. More gear slots. Yeah. Wait. It's the... Yeah, I can't look at Twitch chat and be like, what's happening there? I would love to see a little bit more engagement with like what you can do in chat. Like give me like something cool. I don't know what, but something cool. It feels like I'm watching the goddamn stock ticker every time I look over at Twitch. And in some cases I actually am. Yeah, what's the nuts there, man? Because this is... Say, oh, what's the nuts? No, what's the nuts here? What's the big cojones that's gonna carry this thing? You know what you're doing? Oh, god damn it! Chicken nuggets do sound really good. Hang on. All right, chat. 1 sec. I gotta order chicken nuggets now. Rook said it. I like the idea of the study diet. God damn, DoorDash. I like the idea of the study die and just having that natural, like, if you use it on an attack check, you also can add it to the damage. Oh shit, what the fuck? Well, I'm awake. Stupid old man streamer question. How do you get your, dude, ice scared me. How do you get your camera to change sizes? Is that inside OBS or external program? Yeah, there's nothing showing over here. Okay. So I'm using a program called Streamlabs. It's like OBS. I think OBS does this as well because it's all based off of like OBS. Okay, so okay, so here's like literally the interface I'm looking at right now, right? So that's called a transition. That's this tool right here, edit scene transition. And what it means is if I have that same element, which is camera 1 right here, and it's using the other one as well, that element won't like just pop and go to the next one unless I set that. I have a scene transition that does motion, and that motion is going to move my camera around and stuff. So it's like, I click on this now, ready? Whoop! It pulls me up over here. This is this scene right now. You know. Yeah, it's all scene transitions, at least on Streamlabs. I would check it out in OBS. Part of the reason I use Streamlabs is because I like OBS, but what I can do with OBS is set up a virtual camera, and then I can stream through Streamlabs using the virtual camera through OBS. And if I get on a Discord call with somebody, they can still see my camera because I have everything going through the virtual camera. It's just, it's one of those things that's like, until Discord gets their shit together, you know. I gotta add 61 cents. Cookies. Yeah. Come on. Hell yeah. I got food heading my way. Ah. Our attack checks the skill check now. No. They're handled differently. Shadow Dark really seems to nail the fundamentals. You really want to try it. Yeah, Shadow Dark is a great, like, low mental load type of system that, like, I'm telling people, if the only game you've really tried is D&D, and you're like, I would like to see what other things might offer, Shadow Dark is one that I recommend because you're still going to feel at home with the resolution mechanic. However, you gotta understand that characters are built differently. And that what I think it does a very good job of doing is convincing a lot of players that they can still make any character they would want to. They just have to imagine that rather than see a mechanic for literally everything. Yeah, Dragonbane is another one that does that very well, and also does the same kind of, like, hey, it says a fighter on the page. If you wanted to play, like, whatever character, all you really need is for it to say fighter, or whatever. I just think that so much of what's gone on with, like, 5e's character creators, or character generation, Pathfinder is worse about this too. I just feel like there's way too much getting thrown on the character sheet. And I like how in Shadow Dark, it's like index card character sheet. There we go. I still get a lot of flavor out of that. That's what I'm kind of like aiming for. Vagabond is crunchier than Shadow Dark, but like, I still think that we're essentially on par with each other of like, we're kind of occupying that central ground, right? We're crunchier than something like Knave or Merkborg, but we're nowhere near the 5e level of crunch. If you use a study die on an attack check, you can also add the die to the damage. No, because that's complicated. I was gonna try to make it work for a parry, but like that feels like that's covering a very specific thing. Is that the wizard text but for weapons? Basically, yeah. Wait, so that's using it on an attack check. Not... Oh, it's not the same. Vagabond tends to have combat with a lot of enemies. I mean, kinda, because, like, we're going in on that hard, like, no, you need to be a, you know, you're a pulp hero who can, like, tear shit up. So here's the other thing that I'm thinking of here. Wait. See, so I'm trying to convey two things here. So we'll be able to see the perks that happen with either or, right? So what this does right here is you spend one studied die to get it not just as a bonus to the attack check, but also to the damage, right? And the other thing is when you deal damage to an enemy with an attack, you can spend a study die and add it to the damage. So this does not work with parry checks. This does. But this is effective at just giving you like an oomph. The thing is, despite this not working on parry checks, that only means it doesn't apply to parry checks that crit. Because then you gotta do the parry check. Now I'm gonna make the attack check. Now that attack check passed. And now you see what I mean? You prefer the first? I think the first is better. Because you're doubling the value of the die. Yeah, you're just getting more out of it. And then people are like, oh, but I didn't use my study die on the attack check. I used it on the parry check. Oh, no. I'm like, well, yeah, but it was still good. Uh, the first one is more powerful. I think it's good. Would you ever use the second? Probably, yeah. If you use a study die on an attack check, you can add the result to the damage as well. Yeah, especially with the way that study die work now, where you can add it to the roll. Oh wait, it is good. You can add it to the roll even if you know that it's gonna pass. So yeah, it is covering that. If you just want to load it up with damage, you can, right? Okay, so we like that. Now, we need to get you a way to generate study die a little bit easier as a fighter. You don't think this works as a core thing for fighters, since you can really only do this once for combat and not in the first combat of the day, unless you studied the night before? Yeah, that's part of it. But we're talking about, like, what's the cool thing, though? Like, what's the cool, like, way that they could generate that? After you... It needs to be with an enemy. You can't just go up and fight a chicken and then be like, I got a study die! Maybe if you whiff an attack dodge or parry. It would probably be generating it a bit too easy. Maybe you always have at least one study die? Nah. Because that could apply to your other skill checks and shit. What if the chicken's mean to you? Yeah. Oh, yeah. See? Bag of rats, right? Is that already here? Oh, shit. Not yet. Critting on a dodge or parry. I mean... Okay, hang on. No. After each combat with an enemy, that's only one right there. You know? That can be gamed a little bit. If you whiff a check to dodge or parry an enemy's attack, you gain a study die. That's not reliable. That's not reliable. Enemy of the same type? No. No. We're not gonna get too complicated with that. No, you don't get 5 dice. No, 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 no. You whip a check to dodge or parry an enemy's attack. You gain a study die. So, okay. Oh shit, my food might be here. It was whenever combat ended. It was just an idea. Also, don't get too married to it like I've already committed. This is just, these are still sketches. Um, Oh, yeah, Jack. Yeah, you can use it on attacks. Wait, did I only say skill previously? What? Why is DoorDash calling? Hang on one sec. All right, there we go. I got food. Uh-oh. Oh, those are the cookies. Huh? I was like, the hell? Who's that on the thumbnail of today's stream? That's Amanda's pet dealer merchant. Mmm. 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 Oh. Mmm. Man, okay, so what's the... Is this even cool? No, it doesn't only work on skills. Yeah. Mm, it's a consolation prize. Hmm. Wait. 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 You don't want to, why not bring that feature back? Because Barbarian got it in Rage. I talked about that a little bit earlier. Let me attack using Dex on my strength only fighter. I mean, Amelia. Get up there and lay down. I know what you're gonna do. I know what you're gonna do. What am I eating? It's like a McCrispy from McDonald's. Um, I mean, you can just stockpile this. That I get a little bit worried about. I have I've gone through the Erdtree DLC, just sort of like seeing what the area is like, and I already know I'm gonna need to restart from the beginning in order to like get my shit back together. I'm rusty. I am definitely rusty on Elden Ring. Maybe once for combat. Um, hmm. Or maybe just on crit, yeah. I don't know, this feels so fucking artsy fartsy now. They do have a time limit, but it's 24 hours. Okay, hang on. Come on. Love you. How many you can hold this way? I think that's getting weird, tracky. Not a fan. I don't know. There's an idea in here. This is cool. What Fantasy Fighter's doing? I don't know. We're just talking. We're just thinking. Whenever I write something and people are like, "What fantasy is this?" I'm like, "Wait, I don't know. We're thinking about ideas." +1 weapons would that would already apply that. We don't want that to double dip. Yeah, we don't want that to double dip. We could spell that out, but I'm not a fan of that either. Because, like, oh yeah, we got a +3 greatsword. Cool. That's a +3 to attack checks and a +6 to damage rolls. Could just add the word only. If you have a bonus that only applies to an attack check. I don't think that that's saying specifically that it doesn't apply to the damage roll. You don't. The sources of bonus to attack besides study. Exalt, I want to say, or the Exalt might have only been damage. Let fighter feel powerful. I mean, we're working on that, but like not. I'm not gonna let it break the fucking game in half. I need it to be intuitive. We're trying to make it clear. Just say die bonus. Oh. I don't know exactly how that needs to be phrased. Wait. If you make an attack with a bonus die, that die's result is also added to the damage. I think this needs to say attack check. Right? What if you could do a praise type of action that the enemy gain favor on dodges and parries against them or something? Oh, there's a feat that can, or a perk that can do that. Feat, perk, I don't know, it's all legally defensible, alright? Any bonus to attack. It's a bonus die. Nope! Can't do this! Nope. Favors a bonus die. Well, hang on. Hang on. You could just say it's not favor. Hang on. Because we can't give you a D20 bonus. Yeah, you're not adding favor, right? What if it just keyed off favor? We already have a few classes that are doing that. Here's what I like about this is kind of thinking about what newbies would already be thinking would work in the game. And if there's a question for them, like with fighter or whatever, where they're like, okay, well, does this mean I get to add this here as well? I would love for the fighter to be telling them as much yes as possible here. So I'm trying to think of where it's telling you no about some of the basics of the game and how the fighter can just be like, oh, but yeah, it does work that way this way, right? Happy Wednesday, Conrad. How's it going? Pump that jam up. Would it be busted if it were the other way around, where bonuses to damage also applied to the attack roll? Yeah. There's easy ways to do that. Exalt being a flat D4 to any attack rolls. You can stack that way too easy. Consider the potential scaling of this feature. Oh yeah, I want the fighter to be the most intuitive, yeah. Yeah. That is simple. Bardic Inspiration scales, yeah. Because that's a bonus in the damage. Since when does it scale? I thought it... Wait. There's also been about fucking 50 different iterations of this game I've written. Okay, so it doesn't now, right? Okay. Was there a reason I took... Oh! Because of Climax. Yeah, Climax actually got worse if we scaled it. That's why. Yeah, it doesn't need to. That's the thing, was... I was originally thinking about doing that, and then there was an oddity that clicked on where it was a D8, and then it was like, yeah, and then it was exploding, and then it was like, oh, well, wait, I would have preferred to go back to a D4, and that's why we took the scaling away. I was like, shit, wait, what was the thought there? Yeah, it's because it's the only D4 in the entire game. I think outside of maybe Alchemist and Gunslinger with a Resource Burst, it's the only infinite, if I'm recalling that correctly, that explodes. If I recall, I might be wrong on that, but yeah. Okay. God, do I really just fucking throw in goddamn Action Surge here? Because I get why they did that now. Oh, later, Titania. Because Action Surge is cake. But... If it doesn't gain study die, then when can that Art of War realistically proc? I mean, get your study die. He'll whisper the what up, Val? And what do they have to say? Oh, what's that? Freedom? Oh, you want to be called Freedom Fries now? Well, I mean, I won't dead name you. Oh man. Okay. What's American fries all along? Ugh. You gotta ask, the +1 bonuses make it easier to crit? No, it will always say if it does. If it modifies, so if it modifies it in a way to where it will bring it above the threshold to crit, it will specifically say that. Yeah, only once per combat. Right. Okay. So the fun thing is, at least I think with this thing, is what does it mean whenever we're like, what's the core? And by the core, I'm like, what the fuck are we trying to encourage you to do with that first turn that isn't just like, go in and hit shit? You know, like, yeah, but like, what's cool about that? And like, Action Surge in 5e gets that across. You know what's interesting? The funny thing is it's Action Surge from 5e. But like, it's not. It does have a trade-off. Doesn't Pugilist get this too? They may need to get some shit removed from it. Pugilist has too many ways in which they can make an attack. But what they're getting is one attack. This is the attack action. Now, Pugilist is probably going to have to get some toys taken away. Especially if this is so good. If this is the thing that is just that good for the fighter, like, because this is so good for front and back line. And that's kind of where we want it to be. The player who plays Pugilist barely gets to play it, and the class is already different. What? Yeah, they already get it. Well, they used to. We nerfed the fuck out of rope-a-dope. I didn't think that that feature was like necessarily all that insane. And then yeah. Look, here's what we can do, okay? That's already really good. What if we just do no check? We get rid of skip the move. Isn't part of the narrative of Pugilist that you can throw a bunch of attacks at once? I mean, you can already. You're throwing out two pretty nutty, you know. The thing is, here's the deal. Skip your move to attack. This means you cannot reposition. You have to be in a good position. And if you are in a good position, this is fucking sick. But it really punishes enemies that if something moves away from you, then you don't have a feature, which is not great. But if something doesn't really have an option other than to get up into your face, this fucking rocks. Now, if you're doing backline, this kind of feels like the only reason that you would be playing this right now is you're going to be a backline fighter. Should it not just be so yeah, it's creating the problem where backline is just better. Yeah. But that's the thing, is like this class is not going to really have a defined zone. Frontliners are not pissed about getting this. But okay. Wait. Ooh. Frontline fighter with cleave loves this though. Maybe. Like What was the suggestion? Maybe once a turn you can... Oh... That would... It costs half your move, but it's once per round. Once per round, you can spend half your speed to make an attack. I mean, yeah, it'd probably need to be once per round. I don't know. What do we think? Hang on a second. Alright, sorry chat, I finally got a text back from one of the managers about the graphic design gig I posted about on Twitter. Oh my god. The fucking gall of it all. Yeah, they were like, well, we can't give you an answer as to whether or not we're going to pay you, but we do have some more work for you right now. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? We get into a contract right now where you stop texting me. Nuh-uh, we don't do this. We don't do this whole, like, yeah, you were... Oh, there we go. Hang on one sec. Hey everyone, sorry. I'm gonna need to wrap up the stream. I got a phone call I gotta get to, and I will chat with you all very soon. Sorry for you guys that were sitting here in break, but yeah, we will talk very soon.